Steve, right here. Shoot a buck. You're gonna have to take him, Steve.
It's the time of the rut in the heart of the High Plains, and Winchester Rackmasters host Steve Stoltz is after his first South Dakota whitetail.
I've heard a lot about South Dakota. I've heard it's a sleeper state for big whitetails.
I'm gonna rein him right at 300 yards. I can make that shot.
There they go.
He's looking, now there's my shot. I'm gonna have to take a shot right there. Way down on the end looking at us. Looks like a nice, like it's got spikes coming up. Can't believe that buck's just standing there. Rick went ahead and went across this little field and that buck's still standing there. So you can tell these deer haven't been hunted. If we see a shooter, we should be able to get on them.
Owner and guide Fred Lamphere of Western Ranch Outfitters hunts near the legendary South Dakota town of Deadwood and in the shadow of Mount Rushmore. And for Steve Stoltz, this is his chance at his first buck in the state. But he'll have to overcome the effects of drought and widespread deer disease.
Well, I'm really looking forward to hunting in South Dakota. I've never taken a whitetail there, and I've heard a lot about South Dakota. I've heard it's a sleeper state for big whitetails, and I'm looking forward to hunting with Western Ranch Outfitters to try and take my first South Dakota whitetail. Fred?
Yeah,
Steve Stoltz.
Hey, Steve, glad
Nice
to
to
meet
meet you, man.
Steve, this is Rick Richards.
Rick?
Glad to meet you,
Rick
Steve.
Richards?
You bet, yeah.
Nice to meet you. So is this going to be our guide?
That's your guide.
My name is Rick Richards. I'm a guide for Western Ranch Outfitters. We're just in the beginning stages of the ruts here in South Dakota, or anyway in the area that we're going to be hunting. It just kind of kicked off about 3 or 4 days ago. So, you know, that's a plus for us. It should be good hunting.
Well, the pressure's on you because this is my first South Dakota whitetail hunt.
All right.
And I'm after a good one.
We can do her. Steve, for height, you're right on, but you're about 2 inches to the right.
Well, anytime that you travel to a hunt, you've got to make sure your weapon is still on.
Sighting a rifle in is one of the things that I'll do on every single hunt that I go on. Take our advice, shoot your weapon when you get somewhere, because odds of it being on are pretty high, but it only takes one for it to get knocked off and you miss a trophy of a lifetime.
Rick, are you ready?
Yep.
Fire in the hole.
Steve, you hit the left side of the bullseye.
I think that's close enough with this
And
wind.
for height, you're plumb perfect.
Okay.
You bet. You're good to go.
All right, so we went ahead and fired off a couple rounds. Luckily, I was a little right on the first shot. Could have been the wind, could have been me pulling the trigger. Second shot was right on, so the gun had never moved. We were ready to go hunting.
Yeah, these are prairie whitetail, and that's where they live, is out here. There's no cover really other than the little draws and washouts and stuff, you know. The prairie whitetail are probably a lot more flightier than a normal whitetail.
So they are flight.
Yeah, because you know they can see you coming, you know, from miles and miles.
Let's talk about the EHD that's hit out here, and drought years like we had here. I personally know all over the Midwest, it's hit really, really hard. How has it done in this area, and what have you found how it's affected this area?
You know, like out here in these prairies, there's a lot of dams, stockwater dams, and when they dry up, then there's creeks, you know. So along the creek, there's just a select few potholes of water, you know, so that congregates the deer herd.
Which then obviously spreads the disease.
Exactly.
Epizootic hemorrhagic disease, or EHD, is carried by a tiny biting insect, but wreaks massive havoc on deer herds. In a whitetail, the virus causes fever, weakness, and hemorrhaging in a week and kills in a day.
One thing about the EHD, it's affected our population greatly. And, you know, that isn't to say that there isn't good mature bucks out there, because there is, and there's some whoppers out there also. But this hunt's probably going to be a little harder to do because the numbers are down.
Rick, what's the game plan tonight?
Well, we're just going to sneak up here, and then the Bell River's just down over this bluff right here. We can glass all these hay bottoms and alfalfa fields and cornfields.
Okay.
See what's coming out.
Well, let's head on out there, I guess.
Okay.
That's a mule deer. Oh yeah, good buck. One way up on top too. This is not like where I'm hunting. I mean, you know, usually have distinct bedding area and feeding area and transition area in between. They'll have to be bedded anywhere.
Anywhere, exactly. Yep.
That kind of makes it tougher.
Yeah.
Some does.
There's kind of a little honey hole right over the hill here. We'll sneak up on that.
Rick said it's later in the morning, and you just need to be ready, have your shooting sticks ready, because anything could happen. And if a buck gets up and he's a shooter, I'm going to want you to take him.
Steve, right here. Shoot a buck. You're going to have to take him, Steve.
Up jumps a buck, good looking buck, looked like a shooter to me. And Rick said, you need to take that buck if you get a shot. You know, and I got down, got on the shooting sticks, put the crosshairs on the deer.
You're going to have to hurry up.
Yeah.
How far is he, Rick?
About 150.
To shoot, Steve. Oh, there's a buck.
He's a shooter.
So I told Steve, you know, that's a shooter buck, and if you get an opportunity, you need to shoot him.
I could kill him if he steps out.
Yeah, that's doable. Yeah, he's a shooter buck, definitely.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, and by Redfield, the soul of the American hunter.
Steve, right here. Shoot a buck. You're going to have to take him, Steve. You're going to have to hurry up.
Yeah. How far is he, Rick?
About 150.
No, he's further than that, 200. He's not giving me a shot, he's going straight away. I was excited, I thought this was it. All he needed to do was turn a little bit, give me a little bit of an angle, and I'd have been able to make the shot. I don't have a shot,
Yeah,
Rick.
You don't understand that. Yeah, you can't take that shot.
No.
Yeah.
There they go. Unfortunately, got out of my range and never gave me a shot.
When you see a buck coming in, your nerves start kicking up, your breathing gets heavy, and that's normal. That's part of hunting, and that's what's so wonderful about it. But you also have to learn to kind of calm that down and gather your composure, so that way you're making good shots and you're able to field judge a deer.
Man,
Well,
that was close.
it was close. He was right down here in them trees.
And he was a good buck.
He was.
You know, and at this point, you know, we haven't been on anything today yet, and I'd have taken that. Guess we'll just keep going. Maybe we'll next time we'll see them before they see us. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
What could have been Stoltz's first South Dakota buck never presents a shot. Now he and guide Rick Richards take advantage of an old shed as a blind.
Okay, Steve, we got two options, that shed over there or this one. That shed's gonna give us a bigger view of the whole area, but this one here's right on the, what you'd call a bluff, and then bigger bucks are gonna stage down in there. You know, later on in the night when it's starting to get dark, you know, they're still gonna be hung back up there. So if we stay here, chances are seeing a big buck is greater right there, I think.
Well, let's get in this shed. I like the idea of a bigger buck anyway.
Okay.
Well, Rick said, Steve, we need to get into that shack pretty early and set up before the deer start moving. So I agree with him. I thought, you know, earlier the better. So we got it, you know, set up probably 1:30 in the afternoon, you know, and then it was just a matter of waiting for the deer to start showing up.
Come some does. Two big does. Coming through that bottom. It's perfect. They don't even know we're in here. It's cool.
Well, the first thing that shows up right by the shack is a little doe. It was really kind of cool because she walked right by us Heck, I could have poked her with a stick, but the neat part about it is we were in there in time before the deer started moving, and they had no clue we were there.
Timber stands and crop fields are few and far between on the dry high plains, so the key is to find any available blind, like this tumbled down outbuilding.
Okay, we got does coming out. And I'm looking behind. Oh, there's a buck. Rick, you see him? You see him in the corner?
Yeah.
He's a shooter. You need to get ready.
You know, I was watching those does intently. I threw my red fields up, and I was watching behind where the does had come out, and sure as heck, you know, out pops a set of antlers through the brush, and I knew that was probably that shooter buck.
He's a good one. He looked like a pretty good buck to me, but I didn't know. I'd like to get a better look at him. See how far he is. I think he's a little far right now. Let's see, he's 251 yards. Yeah. I mean, I could kill him if he steps out. Yeah, that's doable. Yeah, he's a shooter buck, definitely.
So I told Steve, you know, that's a shooter buck, and if you get an opportunity, you need to shoot him.
Oh, he's turned around. He's going back in the brush. He was working that scrape. Yeah. But I can't get, it's too brushy. I can't get, he's going to have to come out in this field a little more. Yeah. We're just going to have to wait him out, Steve. Yeah, he just disappeared back in the brush. Yeah. Good buck, though. I think he was a 10-pointer. I do, too.
That shooter buck didn't present a shot. He went back over the riverbank, but, you know, it was early on. There's still a lot of daylight. We was just hopeful he'd come back out later on.
You see that buck that's out there?
Yeah, running?
No, he's by himself, but he's looking at he's on the, right past the fence line.
Yeah, I see him. He just walked past that post.
That's a good buck. That's a 3.5-year-old buck at least. Truth be known, he needs to grow.
Well, the rest of the evening, deer start pouring out all around us. I mean, we had deer in every direction, darn near. A couple small bucks came out. They sparred a little bit. More does. But what an exciting evening. What an exciting hunt there in that shed. I'll never forget that one.
Wow, there are a ton of deer down here, and you can see the activity is unbelievable. Bucks fighting, bucks chasing does. We're just gonna watch them here till dark and hope something bigger comes out, but it's getting too late. Rick, there's a good buck walking past that green tractor. Do you see him way out there?
I do. Yeah.
That's a shooter, I think. He's a good-looking deer anyway.
Yes, he is.
Oh, there's another buck coming out right behind him. You see him? He's a decent buck too.
Yeah, he is.
That's the best buck I'm seeing. They're too far for us to make moves this evening.
Yeah, there ain't nothing between us and but an alfalfa field.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of the other big bucks that Rick has located showed up, and we didn't get one that evening.
Yeah, and there's just no way, Steve.
There's a lot of deer down there though.
There is.
There's a buck there. I don't know if there's not two, but that might be a deer we need to shoot.
Well, we were looking at this buck, and he looked awful good.
He's looking, there's my shot. I'm gonna take a shot right there. Man, this is beautiful up here.
Yeah, it's good country.
Day 2, and Steve Stoltz and Western Ranch Outfitters guide Rick Richards are spotting and stalking for Stoltz's first South Dakota buck.
Some does.
I knew this would be a good morning. You know, here I am on my quest for my first South Dakota whitetail. So far, I've been pretty darn impressed with the amount of whitetails that are here. And, you know, it was crunch time. It was, I only have so much time to hunt here in South Dakota.
Oh, looky here. You know, all the ranchers have been talking about EHD kills, and here's an example. This buck clearly has been dead for a few months. Look at there, beautiful buck.
Well, what is EHD that everybody's been talking about this year, and especially since it's been a drought year? Well, EHD is epizootic hemorrhagic disease, and it's a disease that is spread by a midge fly that concentrates when water levels get low and their larva produces at a greater rate. And when they bite a deer and they're infected with that EHD, they give the infection to the whitetail. It usually takes about less than a week for the whitetail to actually succumb to the effects of EHD. So it takes a deer very quickly.
Pretty buck. That's a shame. There's a buck there. I don't know if there's not two, but that might be a deer we need to shoot.
Well, we were looking at this buck and he looked awful good. I could see him through the Redfield spotting scope, and now it was a time to just develop a game plan to get closer to that buck, because we were clearly probably almost a mile away from these deer, or at least a half a mile, I know.
Now, I didn't get the chance to glass those other deer we saw up further.
Right, yeah.
But I think this is definitely a shooter, so.
Okay, yeah. You know, we'll just take a look at him.
Yeah, we'll get closer, get a better look at him.
Yeah.
You know, when you're out here in this wide open country, there's whitetails out here. Trust me, they're here. But you have to have good optics to be able to identify whether a deer is a shooter or a mature buck. You know, you don't want to waste a whole half a day stalk on a deer that's not worthy of taking.
Optics, I mean, I can't imagine going on any hunt without a pair of field glasses. I can't imagine going on any hunt today without a rangefinder. It's not a guessing game.
When you're hunting open country, your optics can really save you a lot of foot time, because you can check out that buck from a long way off and decide if it's something you want to pursue.
I don't know where they're at. I know we saw them.
They should be just over this hill, Steve, just over this hill. Okay, just stay back just a little bit, Steve. Let me ease up there, look. Okay.
You see him?
Yeah, just let me look one final time.
Okay.
I just seen the backs of a couple of them. Just let me look. Okay, tell you what. Now there's a bigger buck and I think we need to shoot him.
Okay.
But there's also a smaller buck.
Okay.
Okay, smaller buck's to the left, okay?
Right.
You'll be able to see him when you get up there. I'm gonna stay back. You just sneak up there and get comfortable and see what we can do.
Yeah, that way I gain a little distance. Hold on. How far do you think they are?
Oh, they're out there ways, probably 250 or better.
I want to range that hill. Yeah, that's probably close to 300.
Yeah.
If I could just get 30 more yards on them.
Yeah,
that'd be
exactly.
a little closer shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay back because one guy going over is better than two, so I'm just gonna stay back.
If I get a shot at him, I'm gonna go ahead and take him then.
Right, yeah.
That might be far enough.
Take it easy, Steve. They're kind of watching you now.
There's deer. There's two of those looking right at me. There they go. There they go. We're gonna take that buck out with them. They know I'm here now. I'm gonna range him. Right at 300 yards. I can make that shot.
There they go.
He's looking, there's my shot. I'm gonna have to take the shot right there.
Okay, be quick, Steve. See? Yeah, see? Right there. Okay.
I put the gun on the sticks, put the crosshairs behind his shoulder, so it was now or never.
There's my shot right there. I'm gonna take him.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, and by Redfield, the soul of the American hunter.
He's looking, there's my shot. I'm gonna have to take the shot right there. There he goes. Oh, I didn't want to shoot at him moving. I just started to squeeze the trigger on that nice buck.
Tell you what, they ain't boogered too bad. They're probably gonna slow up when they get to the crest of the hill and they'll just graze over. And all we gotta do is just sneak up there and try to put another stalk on.
I mean, he stopped and he looked and then he took off. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to take that shot when
You
he started
you
moving.
did the right thing.
Well, after those deer disappeared, we watched them for a little while, make sure all the deer were clear. And Rick said, well, you know, I hope you got your walking shoes on, because we got quite a long ways to walk, but I'm pretty sure I know right where those deer are gonna bed.
Now, Steve, I'm thinking he's bedded over the hill. See them cows over there? He's gonna shy away from them cows, but I'll bet you he's gonna go over the top of this hill and he's gonna bed down. All we gotta do is pick antlers out in the sage.
Okay. No, no, nothing. That looked like ears. It's kind of nerve-wracking because you know they're right between here and the road.
Yeah. And yeah.
I don't want to bump them.
No, exactly. Steve, he's right up there. He's looking at us. I was a little bit ahead of Steve, slowly easing over the crest of that hill, glassing, and I finally spotted some antlers. He might have spotted me, so I told him, you know, he's going to be kind of on high alert.
And I'm gonna keep going until you see him before I do. Let me know.
All right. Okay, Steve, there he is. See him?
Yeah,
See him right there? Okay.
I'm gonna range him.
Okay, be quick, Steve.
About 150.
I put the gun on the sticks, put the crosshairs behind his shoulder, so it was now or never.
There's my shot right there. I'm gonna take him.
Good shot. Yes! Dropped him in his tracks, Steve. Woo-hoo!
My
Good
first
job.
South Dakota buck, baby.
There you go.
Well, that Winchester 30-06 with the 180 grain XP3s hammered that buck. I mean, he went down on the spot. My first South Dakota whitetail. What can you say? What a hunt. Thank you so much. That is awesome.
You know, as a guide, you can tell when your hunters are happy, and Steve was. It was a nice, mature 8-point buck, and I'm tickled to death for Steve.
Steve is one of those hunters that really gets excited about every single deer he takes and is proud of every deer. And as a hunter, that's the way it should be. It's not always about just the antler size, but it's about the sense of accomplishment and getting to the goal that you were hoping for.
This is my first South Dakota buck.
All right.
And again, I mean, he's just a good, solid, mature whitetail.
Yeah.
You've got some great whitetail hunting up here.
Yes, we
And
do.
listen, when you come up here and hunt, and you have a whitetail hunt like you've had up here at Western Ranch Outfitters, I will be back if you'll have me.
All right, you bet we will.
Awesome buck, thank you.
You betcha.
Appreciate it.
Good hunt.
Hi, I'm Bob Folkrod, asking you to join the legions of deer hunters taking the QDMA Real Hunting Pledge. Hunt wild deer that aren't the production of artificial breeding or human habituation, and they aren't subject to unfair canned hunting conditions. Real hunters pursue real deer.